Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Kull the Savage. Slightly confusing title, maybe it should have been called Kull the Savage Sword Of. But however, to be consistent with obviously the Conan ones, but there's all the various people there. 950 pages, covers the period 1973 all the way through to 1995. A vast number of stories included in the book, obviously from Marvel. Now these were originally, most of them anyway, not all, were included in these brilliant books. The Kull Savage Sword. See, they went for Savage Sword. Maybe that was the reason they didn't go for the title. So Volume 1 and Volume 2, absolutely brilliant. Here's the actual thing. Look at that, brilliant. Kull the Savage. Actually also slightly confusing because I think the Khazar one or Khazar one is also going to be called, but they did put the original Marvel years. Now these are the black and white stories. These were obviously in magazines like Savage Sword, Savage Tales, etc. As well as Kull and the Barbarians. You've got the lovely crown on the back, which I think looks really amazing. And then you've got, obviously, just nice. You can see they could have done something nice there as well. That would have been nice, but however, they didn't. But you've got Kull the Savage, and then into this, unfortunately, split over. It's not particularly brilliant. That would have been pretty impressive, unfortunately, for that. It's just crunched in a bit. However, there's all the various people that are involved. Now, of course, there's not any listings of colorists, so obviously being all in black and white. So you've got letterers, inkers, etc. And then you've got the vast list, and it is quite a vast list of all the various issues. You can see it all from 1973 all the way through to 1995. Got a couple of introductions. Roy Thomas, of course, as always. Roy Thomas's introductions are always superb. Though, must admit, only 4 pages. Really? Could have done a bit more than that. I'm certainly normally does about 50 pages. I love those introductions. You've got one here, Doug Moench, or Monk. No idea. My apologies for saying his name completely wrong. And Chuck Dixon as well. And also puts a lovely cover of course, the Lancer book of King Kull. Lovely. I love that book. And it says there, Robert E. Howard and Lynn Carter. You've got a bit of colour in it, not very much, but there's obviously just a quick map, or we could say very loosely drawn map there, but still unexplored, etc. To the nameless continent. So that's probably pretty unexplored as well. Grondar and the deserts and Non-Thurian Kingdom. All those sort of useful things. Actually, Volusia is quite big, isn't it, on that map? However, into the stories, you've got a lovely one there of Tower of the Shadows, just with obviously out the colouring, but what a great cover that is. Obviously unused, and I assume it was unused. Never before published cover of Tower of Shadows number 10. And then you've got King Kull, Skull of Silence, into the book. Now the artwork bounces around, sometimes absolutely amazing, sometimes not so great, but it does bounce backwards and forwards. So there's quite a variety of artists involved, and lots of different monsters. Poor old someone's going to get a bit munched there, I think, at that point, looking pretty scared. I can't blame him. That looked pretty frightening, pretty horrible death as well. However, of course, King Kull solves the day as usual. He normally does. So the first Barbarian, you've got lots of articles in this, which is brilliant. I love articles reading. So it's all about obviously weird tales. And it also mentions here about that some of the weird tales were apparently second rate or third rate. Not actually a flop. I must admit, I loved the weird tales. Not obviously every issue. Sometimes I've bought these anthologies and you think, oh, some of them were terrible. Not all, but some. You've got this brilliant Barry Windsor Smith one. I love that. Now, there's some colour in here, so you've got that. But near enough all the others have got no covers. So if you want looking for covers for the Savage Sword, you'll have to go for the Savage Sword books, the Conan ones. You've got obviously that story there. You can see the art, like I say, just backwards and forwards. This one, the Shadow Kingdom. This one's Marie and John Severin. Also one thing it includes, which is I think is lovely. You've got this brilliant, obviously, advert there, and you've got all the so you can buy the magazines. It's got all the ones like Savage Sword of Conan, Planet of the Apes, Dracula Lives, Vampire Tales, etc. And then on to the next story, the Forbidden Swamp. And you've got, again, they put, of course, the map. Very useful map. You think they could have updated that a bit, included a little bit more. Let's put a little bit more onto the map. But of course, you've got good old Thusla Doom. I wonder if there's any relation to Doctor Doom. Probably not, but anyway. Not particularly a great, really all the power in the world, but he ends up looking. However, next issue, the Kull and the Barbarian. That was a series that I think should have continued. That only had 3 issues. 3 issues of, I mean, really. And it had 3 of my favourite characters. Just brilliant there. Of course, they don't include the Red Sonja one of, obviously, the Solomon Kane. Of course, there is also the Omnibus edition of Solomon Kane, so I'm certain that's in there. Without checking, of course, I'd love to see a Red Sonja Omnibus edition like this. It'd be brilliant if they ever did that. Oh, actually, we've got a better map this time. Slightly more, probably not much. Atlantis. Atlantis is in there. And the Lemurian, something like that. However, you've got some more brilliant artwork there. Valka and Hope, etc. And also you've got, oh, what's this? You've got a nice little, oh, that's useful. A King Kull glossary. That is useful. Actually, you've got all the various names. Though it doesn't actually say how to say the names. That would be even more useful because sometimes you can look at this and go, Carnoob or something. I don't know. Kelkor, Knort. Oh, I suppose it has broken down slightly. But, however, the Mirrors of, oh, that's a really good one, that one. Mirrors of Tzun Thun. Just beautiful artwork there. I love penciled ones. It's always nice. Obviously, it's nice to have the inked ones, but at the same time, I quite like seeing the pencil ones. And sometimes, well, you wouldn't want it the whole series to be pencil, but at the same time, some of them are quite nice just to see it in that style instead. And you've got Riders Beyond the Sunrise, and they didn't really vary it. They didn't push it into sort of more like superhero artwork, so which is good. Actually, that character looks like a certain comedian. This one, Beyond the River of the Dead. And there's so many great stories in this. The Wizard and the Warrior. You can get the general gist of things. There's lots of wizards, lots of sorcery, lots of, obviously, Brawl the Spear Slayer. Pretty good. So you've got a little advert there. This is one of their stories. Oh, you've got another colour. That's Bizarre Adventures. This one, Kull the Barbarian. From the Crater. Oh, this is a good one with John Bolton. You always know immediately, see John Bolton's artwork. Just superb. Very, very, very much his style. It's just straight away. Then on to the next one. This is Pieces of Horror by Jeff Isherwood. He's got that story. And page after page. I mean, it's really beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely crisp. The artwork, the restoration is superb. I mean, it really is very, very sharp, which is great. I can't say I've seen any page looking through this, and like I say, it's a cursory look because I haven't read all the stories yet, I have to admit, but I've read them over the years. But it's just looking through, it looks absolute to me very, very, very sharp. So you can see the detail there. No sort of poor artwork at all throughout this. I mean, I'm not saying every single page of artwork is what I like, but at the same time, I mean, you cannot criticise the restoration, which is just first rate as ever. Oh, that looks pretty good. Kull! Well, that's a great poster. Well, that's a bit an odd one. Ooh, not very good. Well, that's an unusual one. We'll better not show that. That's the last page. And you've got, obviously, there. And more. Actually, some of these stories are just classic. Attack! Well, there's one I was trying to show you, but I thought, of course, as always when you do these ones, you can never find it. But there's another one there. Kull of Atlantis. And all the way through to the end. Right, so we've got to the end, and now this is, I think, is one of the best things for this. This is just brilliant. Kull Comics Chronology. Absolutely superb. So you've got all of the different stories, and it's got just a breakdown of all of the Kull stories, which is great. I love that, because you can then follow through and you can sort of put it back to things. Because sometimes I must admit, these stories you think, especially if you read them sort of all over the place, you don't really get sort of the overall, and I haven't been following them all though, over all the years. Sneak preview, this one, Bizarre Adventures 26. Oh, another bit of colour at the back as well. And yet another one here, this is House Ad, Barry Windsor Smith. Oh, brilliant. Appearing in Savage Sword of Conan, this is March 1986. Also you've got a lovely one there, it looks like Red Sonja. And you've got some John Bolton there at the back. So you've got a bit of extras. Actually, not that much. No pencil. No penciled pages. Just a lot, obviously, but lots of great articles, which is great. Well, I think this is just a lovely volume. Yeah, another brilliant volume. Another one, part of a series of, like, obviously, the Conan one, the Kull one, the Solomon Kane one. Oh, if only they could bring out the Red Sonja, as well as, of course, complete maybe some of the other stories that they must have done over the years. They've done quite a few odd, just little one-off stories. Would be nice to get in this sort of format. Maybe it wouldn't be a very big volume, I don't know, but it would be nice to see them all collected in a sort of like complete R.E. Howard set. So excellent, thoroughly enjoyable volume as ever. I love this, and I will have many hours, I'm certain, of enjoyment reading these old classic stories. And I'm looking forward to the next one, which is Kull the Destroyer. I think Destroyer. I'm not certain. I think that's the case. That's the colour one. I love the colour ones. Actually, I read more of the colour ones when they came out, because it was about 1973, 74, etc. There was a series of that I thoroughly enjoyed, and plus obviously over the years there's been many more, and so I'm looking forward to those, to see them all again. Kull the Savage, absolutely superb.